everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is the first week of May, so you know it is my BOXYCHARM unboxing. This is going to be the base box for the May BOXYCHARM subscription. This is the $25 a month box, not the premium box, the $35, but we're going to go into that too. So if you want to see all of the fun items inside this box, make sure to keep on watching. And there is going to be a giveaway in this video. I'm going to be giving away a full May subscription box. So if you want to enter to win a full box, all you have to do is like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel, and you will be entered to win a box of your very own. The variation is different, so it is going to be kind of like a mystery of what you're going to get, but it is a full May box. So again, if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I upload 3 times a week, and that's going to be the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So if you want to see what's inside this month's box, stay tuned. Okay, so first, this month, my premium box came. That had a card in it, but the base box did not. It did come with the normal influencer card that says, you know, this is not sponsored. Let them know that it was a gift, because it was. This is sent to me by BOXYCHARM for reviewing purposes, but it is not sponsored. They don't pay me to say anything, nothing. Anyway, we're going to be jumping into this, so I don't know the variation number. I don't know. I did look up retail value, but we're going to go into all that. First item out of the box is going to be the Glam Glow Berry Glow Prebiotic Recovery Mask. I'm not going to be demoing this on camera for 2 reasons. The first is I'm currently using the Hydrobiome mask from, shoot, I literally looked at it in my bathroom this morning. Kerez, the Kerez Hydrobiome mask. So I don't need 2 prebiotic masks open at the same time. Plus I have already used this before, so I know my thoughts and I will give that to you. Now, this mask retails for $49. It is a moisturizing and nourishing mask. I'm pulling up the info on Sephora because I don't have a card. But a moisturizing mask packed with super berries and prebiotics to help repair the skin's moisture barrier. Good for normal, dry, or combination skin. It is super lightweight. Fruit extracts of blueberry, cranberry, and goji. So I will say that this smells absolutely divine. It feels beautiful on the skin. It says to leave it on for 10 minutes and then wash it off. I actually will sleep with it on. You're not supposed to, but that's what I do. Read the instructions. Obviously, everyone's skin is different, but that's how I have found I like it the most, and I have yet to have a complaint. And I can't wait to finish my Kerez one so I can jump into this, because this is actually a product that I do really enjoy. The next item out of the box is from Daily Concepts. It is the shampoo bar. So this is a plant-based shampoo bar luxury spa product. I'm reading it right off the website. It is a small little bar, retails for $24. Your hair will love the shampoo bar. Plant-based, no plastic, simple bar for beautiful hair without filling the oceans or landfills with more plastic bottles. Wet the bar in your hair, swipe the bar onto your hair several times, and then lather. It will foam. This uses avocado oil, nopal cactus, and aloe. So ingredient-wise, it looks good. Rosemary, avocado, sage, birch, yeah, so ingredient-wise, it does look good. I did not get a chance to try this out yet, but I will make sure to leave a comment down below how I feel about it. I will say that I don't typically love bars in general. Like, I don't like barred soap. I don't like barred anything. However, I am going to give it a try just because I feel like in shampoo, I'm less weird about it. I don't know why. I don't get it either, but I'm not as grossed out about this as I am about, like, a bar of soap for, like, your body wash. I don't know. And the next 3 items we will be demoing on camera. So the first is from Studio Makeup. It is the Easy to Wear eyeshadow palette. Honestly, from a color standpoint, it's giving me like a muted sultry. Let me grab that. So according to the website, this retails for $35, easy to wear, versatile colors. When I looked at it, it looked like a muted version of this palette right here, the sultry palette, which is one of my favorite palettes of all time. This is definitely a little dustier, a little grayer. Whereas this is a little bit more vibrant and bold. But that being said, you can definitely get a look out of here. So we're going to be using that. However, we're going to be using that with another item out of the box. Also out of my box is the Pretty Vulgar Eyeshadow Primer. The Uncaged Eyeshadow Primer retails for $22. Blendable, lightweight, skin smoothing formula to enhance your shadows, making them vibrant and long-wearing. Infused with mineral-rich clay to absorb excess oil. I love that. So you guys know that for eyeshadow primer, I either use the P. Louise base, which is going to be, I feel like, a similar texture to this, or I like a cream. I used to exclusively use the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I am in the process of phasing everything into cruelty-free only. So I've been using the concealer in the cap of my MVP Tinted Moisturizer from Beauty For Real. And I've actually found that is a beautiful eye base. So that is going to be replacing my paint pot. But I'm always down to try a new primer, especially one that says it contains clay to help absorb oil. So I'm going to grab the brush I always use. And what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to take a tiny bit of the... I'm going to zoom you guys in first. That's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of the primer. With this stuff, usually a little bit goes a long way. So I'm not going to start with too much. And I'm just going to press it around the eye. Okay, right away, I will say that this is not the type of eye primer I normally go for. I thought it was going to be like a pigmented primer, which neutralizes redness and discoloration. There is no color to this. This is just a primer formula. So I don't, like normally when I put it in an eye primer, it will neutralize all the color and it'll almost look like my eyes are whited out. That's just the type of primer I tend to prefer. But we are definitely going to give this a chance today. See how when I blend it away, it almost blends into nothing? I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, but we are definitely going to give it a shot. All right, obviously I cannot give you a full-on review of the primer until I see how everything goes. However, it is not tacky. It is drying down like pretty smooth, so it's not going to like grab to your brushes. I know some people really like when a brush or when a primer is a little tacky. I personally don't. I'm going to start with the shade Bare right here. This reminds me of the Urban Decay Naked formula. I'm getting like kick up in the pan and the shade feels quite powdery. I know that there are people who are like holy grail ride or die for the Urban Decay formula. I personally am not. Just because I find that they're super easy to work with, especially for people who are newer to eyeshadow. But the trade-off is it's not super pigmented, so you really have to build them up. Primer is pulling my brush a little bit. Not the end of the world, but just something to consider. But I'm definitely getting like nice pigmentation where the brush is putting down product. I'm going to go into a much smaller brush on that same shade. And I'm going to like just tap it here because I want to put that right in the crease. Yeah, see how that's really depositing color down? I'm not having any issues with pigmentation. My brush is sticking a little bit to that primer, which you can always set down your eyeshadow primer with a powder if you don't prefer that. I just, didn't. But we'll make it work. Tipping the brush on its side, I'm going to go into the shade Fate, which is down here. It is the dark brown shade. And I'm going to start on the outer corner of the eye and really just define. And then with whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to buff into the crease. Now, if your eyes are hooded like mine, you can always like tilt your head back, and that's going to allow you to get a nice smooth blend. So when you look forward, you can still see the shadow and it's not just all hidden in the fold of your eye. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that fluffy first brush and the shade Dusk, which is the only shade in here that has any warmth to it, and it's like a dusty salmon. So I wouldn't even necessarily call this a warm shade, but you guys know I love my cool tones. And I'm going to tilt the head back and just use this to blend out the crease. I really do enjoy when you're dealing with a cooler tone on the eye to have a little bit of a warmer shade in the crease just to give you contrast. Just like if I do like blue or greens, I like to have either coral, pink, salmon, orange, really something just to help those colors to pop. So when I go into my cool toned lid shade or like a gray, it's really just going to stand out vibrantly among the browns. Going back into the dark brown, we're just going to start to feather that towards the middle of the lid. I still want most of that color concentrated on the outside, but we are going a little smoky today, so I do want to pull that color in. I'm going to grab a brown eyeliner, And I'm just going to quickly throw this in my waterline. Grabbing a little smudger brush. Actually, I'm going to grab a flat-headed brush. I'm going to take that same dark brown that we've been using, and I'm just going to lightly blend around that liner. If you don't want to go quite as smoky as I like to go, you do not have to. But you guys know I like when the lower lash gets a little smoky and a little grungy. Because I'm going to take this and I'm going to still go around and buff it with a lighter shade. Because I really like that like 1994 super smoky lower lash line. All right, switching out for a smudger brush, I'm going to take that first transition shade we used. And I'm going to take, I'm not going to say a lot, but I'm going to take quite a bit of that shade. And I'm just going to blend around the dark brown. See how it just softens it a little bit so it's not quite as stark? And then with my big fluffy brush, make sure we've just blended out any edges. I know most people normally do the whole top and then the lower lash, but I like to throw my waterline on a little earlier just so that I see how smoky it is and then I can kind of build around it. So for example, now I feel like I want to take that crease shade and take a little bit more of it. And I actually want to just buff it a little higher just to add a little more drama. Because I feel like it's a little bit lackluster compared to how grungy and smoky the bottom is. For the lid, I'm going to take this shade right here, Gilded, and I'm actually going to take that right on my finger. And I'm going to pull that across the lid. And I'm really only concentrating it on the inner portion to about the center. I'm not going too far. All right, so the mattes were super blendable, super pigmented, and very easy to work with. With my finger, not getting too much out of this. So I'm going to grab a brush instead, and I'm just going to load up on pigment. And I am going to grab MAC Fix Plus just to wet the formula. Much better. See how more vibrant it is when you wet the formula? And then something I like to do whenever I use a wet shadow is I will grab a little bit more dry, and I will almost use the dry powder to set down the wet powder that we just put down, because that just makes the whole thing so much vibrant. So much more vibrant. Clean brush, well, the brush we used first, just to diffuse the edges. And then taking the blending brush we've been using basically the whole time, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of the dark brown and just blend towards the shimmer shade just to reinforce that dimension. So I really like how this eye look is turning out. It is nice and cool toned and smoky and grungy. I keep catching myself in the reflection. However, what I will say is that when you go with a cool tone, it does wash you out a bit. So I'm going to take a tiny bit more blush just to make sure that we're not losing the warmth in the cheeks, because cool tones will do that for you. Yeah, you see how a little bit more blush just brought the face back together and keeps us from looking gray? All right, last thing I'm going to do out of this palette, and I know I always say last thing and then I find like 6 more things to do, but the actual last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my detail brush, and I'm going to take the shade Sheen right here, which is the lightest shade in the palette, and I am going to highlight the inner corner. And with whatever's left on my brush, highlighting the brow bone. All right, I'm going to zoom you out, curl my lashes, and we'll be right back for the last item in the box. All right, so my lashes are curled. I am back. The last item out of the box is from Blink Cosmetics. It is the Black Lash Primer in Jet Black Volume. I don't typically love lash primers, but I am a fan of the formula from Blink. So I'm just going to grab my favorite mascara. I'm going to be using the Beauty For Real High Def Mascara over the Blink Lash Primer. Oh, okay, so it is a comb applicator, which is honestly my favorite type of applicator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this just to my top lashes. You guys know I am not a fan of lower lash mascara. I just go in with extra grungy eyeshadow. It is coating every lash. It's actually making them stand up really nicely. What I will say is I do not see really much clumping here. And it hasn't transferred, like normally when you go in with a lash primer, I find it gets everywhere and makes such a mess. I'm going to try the bottom side just to kind of like comb everything out. Oh yeah, that is the trick. Okay, so I did stab myself in the eye and got a bunch of it on my lower lash. I did clean it up as best I can. What I will say is what I have already learned. This formula with normal mascaras, if you like get a drop here, you let it dry, you scratch it off, it comes right off. Does not work with this. This stays wet and actually like bleeds into a pigment. So be super, super careful with this because I now have little dots on my under eye that I can't get rid of unless I take my whole eye off. Which at this point I'm not going to because half of the fun of these videos is you guys get to see me mess up in real time and deal with the consequences. I'm going to grab my mascara and I'm going to just comb through the lash primer. Ideally, the primer would still be a little bit wetter when I went in with the mascara, but I'm getting a good effect from it, so overall still a success. All right, mascara is on, and what I will say is like this mascara already gives me great, what the hell? This mascara already gives me like great volume, and I just want to show you guys. I'm going to use a comb just to kind of show you how long my lashes are. But this is really causing my lashes to stand up and give me a great volume. I do already get that with this mascara. I am a fan of it, but I'm definitely getting a little bit more with the Blink primer underneath. That being said, it is still not enough to where I think mascara will ever just replace falsies for me, because you guys know I like a thick, dramatic lash. But for the days where I don't really want anything too over the top, I actually think this is quite pretty, and I like the way it turned out. I'm going to go and see if I can fix up the under eye anymore to give you guys like any other tips in case you screw up the way I did, and then I'll be back to round up the whole box. All right, we are back. The retail value of this whole box, I flipped it inside out so the red's on the outside, is $156. So we're going to round up and see the value. So first off, I'm going to start with the eye primer. I do see a little bit of patchiness right here, but just on one side, which leads me to believe that the shadow performed perfectly on one side and not so perfect on the other. It's going to be the primer's fault because honestly, I went in with a clean brush and just started blending to see if I can fix it. And it is just that there must have not been an even coat of the primer. That could be user error, but I have been messing with my under eye because I messed it up with the lash primer. It's not super noticeable, but it is definitely there. That being said, it's been a while and there's no cracking, no creasing, no issues. So the primer is going to be a hit from me. The lash primer, however, now that it's been on for a little bit and my lashes have kind of settled, I don't think it does quite enough for me to value buying this. I'm going to play around with it a little bit more to see if I can like really see a difference with something like this, because honestly, at the rate I am going, I really don't see too much of a difference between what my high def mascara from Beauty For Real does on its own, let alone with a primer underneath. Super surprised with the shadows. I expected them to be super dusty and not as vibrant as they are. Like, I know it's a neutral look, it's not going to be vibrant, but you know, we got pigment, we got definition. I really like how sultry the eyes look, not just because the colors kind of match the sultry palette. But I do actually really like the palette, and this was the item I was the most, like, I'm going to be honest, I was pretty shitty about. I expected this to fail. I completely, like, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it's going to be another cheap, dusty palette. And honestly, it's not. For a $35 palette, it put up Anastasia quality pigment. So definitely a win from me. For the two products I didn't try, well, this one I've tried. You know I love it. Definitely worth it. 100% a great product, especially if you have drier skin. The shampoo bar, make sure to keep a look in the description box because I will be testing that out later tonight. And I will leave a full pseudo-detailed description of how I liked it down below. I do say this in every BOXYCHARM video, but I'm going to make sure to reiterate 3 things right now. First, if you are ever unhappy with your variation, there is a Facebook website linked in my bio. It is called BOXYCHARM Beauties. It is an online community where people will, I got this and I wanted the House Labs by Lady Gaga eyeliner instead. Let's trade. And people will literally trade products that they haven't used and don't want, per se. It's also a great way, if you fall in love with a product, of stocking up, because they have price restrictions. This is $49 at Sephora, but that site you can only buy for a maximum of $25, because why would they let you buy something for a price more than the box was? So you can get the items in the box if you want to restock or duplicate cheaper. Item number 2. I say this in every video. If I have a box where I like one item and that item costs more than $25, I consider it a win box. Obviously, I liked a lot more than one product today, so this box definitely is worth the value. However, if you are not loving every product in your box, just remember, BOXYCHARM is a little gift for you, from you, every single month, and it is a way for you guys to test new products. That's the whole reason I got BOXYCHARM in the first place. Long before they were sending it to me, I was a customer. And the reason I was into it is I would never have gone out and purchased this palette or a shampoo bar, ever. So the fact that it was sent to my door as part of a monthly subscription box is a way for me to try things I normally wouldn't. So you get that color you don't think you're gonna like, try it on, because you never know if you're gonna love it. And item number 3, please take everything I said with a grain of salt. These are how these products reacted to me. This is how I felt they worked. You guys know I don't like shitting on a product and saying, this is garbage, this is trash. I try to find a way to make it work, even if I don't love it. I don't love eyeshadow primers that aren't pigmented. I still gave it a try, and I was very pleasantly surprised, well, with this eye, with how everything turned out. Obviously, the mascara primer I had an issue with, but that was a Brett problem, not a Blink primer problem. That is my fault. User error, my bad. But I will be trying it out again to let you guys know if I absolutely love it or hate it. Tune into a video later in this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to jump off of my soapbox now because I feel like I'm getting a little preachy. And I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, and I'll see you soon. Bye.